After the crazy success of the first Crash Bandicoot game, it took Naughty Dog only 1 year to figure out what worked, what didn't, and tweak what made the first game so great into its anticipated sequel, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. I am impressed with how this game turned out. It doesn't feel like a retread of the first game. It's its own entity. At this point, Naughty Dog gained more employees, meaning more could be done with the game, leading to bigger levels, more graphical detail, and an overall greater experience. So what's the story this time? Well, immediately after falling off his hoverboard at the end of the first game, Cortex lands in a cavern and discovers a purple glowing jewel known as a crystal. We then cut to 1 year later, as Cortex has since teamed up with a new colleague, Dr. Engine, and hatched a diabolical plan to rope Crash into working for him under the guise that Cortex needs the crystals to save the world from annihilation. Meanwhile, Crash is chilling out with his younger sister Coco, who's introduced to us in the form of here she is, when her battery fries. She demands Crash go and get her a new one, and so Crash makes his way back home, serving as a kind of tutorial level, which I think is pretty well implemented. Halfway there, however, Crash is abducted by a beam of light and brought to a dark, mysterious warp room, where a hologram of Cortex pops up and tells Crash his plan, and thus Crash must now collect 25 crystals to help Cortex save the world. So again, we have a pretty simple, easy to follow plot. But, once again, the gameplay takes center stage, as Crash has some new moves, crouching and sliding. The controls feel just as great as, if not tighter than, the first game, and combined with the sliding jumping combo, it is fun maneuvering through these levels. But the variety doesn't stop there. Crash can also ride a jet ski, ride a polar bear, oh, also love this secret, dig underground, and so much more. I also really dig the environments. We've got even more variety this time around, including snow levels, sewer levels, and space levels, as well as some recurring ones like jungle levels, boulder chase levels, and ruins levels. Now let's talk bosses. The bosses are something I didn't mention in the last review, but I really like all of them. There's no one boss I ever really found annoying. The same can be said for Crash 2's bosses. They're all memorable and all new, save for Ripperoo and Cortex. You don't fight any of them in the exact same way, and that's a good thing. It just all adds more to the variety this game has. Another thing I didn't mention in the last video was difficulty. Crash 1 is notorious for its way of game saving and 100% completion. You can only save your game by either completing a ton of bonus round or collecting a gem. You need all of the gems for 100% completion, and a lot of them can be really challenging to nab, even for a platforming veteran. While Crash 2 still retains some of this difficulty, mostly coming down to backtracking for boxes, which can get irritating I admit, and finding all the secrets if you're going for 100% completion, this game is actually a little easier to get through. At least, if you're not going for 100% completion. In the warp room, there's an area for you to save your game whenever you want, and you can now see how many boxes you've collected. They also don't reset when you die, which happened in the first game, and I am glad they fixed that. Not that I really see it as a flaw. If anything, it's a good incentive to break the crates, but I do see how it could get annoying. Speaking of the warp room, I want to say a quick piece on that. I really like this addition. It may not be as visually impressive as the island traveling from the first game, but from an efficiency standpoint, this makes much more sense, and openly welcomed. So all in all, this is a really good game, and a really good sequel in my opinion. Naughty Dog really outdid themselves with this title, and the fact that it was completed in only a year is crazy. But Naughty Dog's talent doesn't stop there. One more platforming title was made by them, so join me next time as we dive right in.